The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Getting you caught up. It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
Wally and Gavin, if I asked you right now to look on your phone and tell me how many unread text messages and social media notifications you have, what would you say is the average, typically?
Oh, to be honest, I'll just start here. I'm a 0 guy.
Oh, okay.
Personally,
you're good at cleaning up.
I get annoyed if I see the red 1 or 2 by
the little
my thing.
badge.
Even if it's a big thing and I need to get back to it later, I'll star it.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing notifications.
Interesting. Okay.
My daughter's like that too. Last night she was doing something. We were on the phone FaceTime. She said, I got to get that cleared. I got to get that bubble off there. I don't like having those.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't. I have 34 on Facebook. 2 on my text and 8,012 on my emails.
Really?
Yeah.
And that doesn't bother you?
8,012 on my emails.
To see those little red badge icons, it doesn't bother you?
Don't even think twice about it.
I have a friend who's got over 300 unread texts.
Yeah.
And I just...
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I'm surprised he has friends.
Yeah.
Because really, you're ignoring a lot of the people that like you.
Right. Well, the average American, I'm with Gavin and Haley. There's a lot of people that don't like the digital clutter, so we will take the time, go through it, and do all the things that we need to so we don't see it, go through those. But the average American has about 12 unread text messages, 17 unread social media notifications, 9 unused smartphone apps, and 2 pending software updates.
Oh, I got software updates crazy.
And you're also, too, Wally, they say that if you don't declutter your phone or your laptop, iPad, it can impact your device's performance. We know that's the one thing that will send you off a ledge is when anything worked one day and now it doesn't anymore.
I know, but I hate the when they change things and they move the button from where it was and then you have to go hunt and find it. And I spend more time trying to relearn the new thing.
Yeah.
I hold on to the old one.
I get that too. But they did say that not only does digital clutter impact your device's performance, but it also affects your mental health. It gives you anxiety and it reduces productivity. How many times have you gone to your phone for something and then you forgot what it was because you saw something else? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You pick up your phone to go and do something, can't remember what that was because you got a notification of something else and then you went on a rabbit trail doing something else. That's digital clutter. So the tips are you can mute texting conversations. I told this to Wally. He didn't realize this, that you can actually mute. If you're in a group chat and you don't want to keep getting the notifications, you can mute those. That
Because
is
I get
an
them
option.
during the show from my family and like this other one we're on with our future in-laws.
And when you mute the conversation, they don't know that, but it's just muted for you. You can also turn off notifications. So me and Gavin were talking about those little red badges. If you have a smartphone, you can actually turn those off where you don't see them at all.
Oh, really?
Yes. And you can uninstall the apps that you don't use.
Yeah.
Go through your phone and look at those apps, uninstall them, because typically for us it's too much of a chore to go through it, so we'll just buy a device with bigger storage. But ultimately they're gonna run out of storage, so it's just better. You can save money too if you just go through and declutter.
There you go. Those are if you're gonna do a little spring cleaning at the house, those are some that you can start with your phone first. Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show, and Betty Rock from time to time will do a thing called The Scoop, where she gives you information on life hacks, things to make your life a little bit better. And she's the scoopiest of the scoopers that we have. But I thought, you know what? I'd love to hear your scoops, like things that you have figured out that's a good life hack recently. I love watching these things on TikTok and things like that. Mine are usually for building things and better ways to do that. But
mine are usually home essential type things. Like the other day, one was about laundry and how you could do it easier. And I'm thankful for these tips, these scoops, but also sometimes I'm like, I am the biggest idiot. Why have I taken the wrong way, the longest road to get to the same result?
Oh, absolutely. I get it. And that's why we do the scoop, and that's why we want you to help scoop us right now. 855-33-WAY-FM. What is that scoop on whatever it is that you recently got? You're like, what, like Betty, why have I not always done this? This is so smart, and I need to tell the world about it because it was a really good life hack. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's how you can be on the show. We got time right now. Let's do it. 855-33-WAY-FM. So what is your scoop for people that you're like, I can't believe it took me this long to figure this out?
Well, so we had a appliance guy come to our house to fix our washing machine, our dishwasher, and we were talking, and he said he took a pod and just threw it in and closed it and turned it on. And I said, well, aren't you supposed to put it in that little bucket, the little pocket or whatever you want to call it, in the door and close it? And he said, no, you just throw it in there and close it. He said it's going to do the same thing.
Now, where were his pants about this time? Like we're, because I only trust plumbers that go deep with the plumber pants,
I don't know. I wasn't looking back there.
Okay, all right. Jennifer, we appreciate you being on the show with us today.
Well, we appreciate y'all.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. It's time for Time Capsule Tuesday, where we go back in time musically here, and we pick a year, and Gavin, Betty, and I will each pick a song that we liked from that year, and then your job is to tell us who has the best taste in music and why you want to hear that song today on Way FM, because it connected with you. Your story of why is important is cool, because that's what makes Christian music so great, is that it's timeless because of the message. Would you guys mind if I started off today?
Yeah, would you like to tell them the year?
Yeah, I would actually. 2013.
Good job.
Yeah, going way back. That's what, 11 years ago? No. 12 years ago? Yeah. I'm not good at math. Wait.
I can't really laugh at you.
No, 25 to
13. Yes, you're right.
Gavin is the math genius.
You're
he
right.
knows. Don't question.
Why did I even? Okay, so I went with kind of a haunting sound at the time from Plum and Need You Now.
How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh.
I really liked this album and all the songs on it. So this was a standout that we played a lot and was a great song. So Need You Now by Plum. That's my choice. Let's go to Betty Rock next.
I went with one that I wish we would play still, but it's Loving the Outcome, He Is With Us.
Oh, that's good.
We can trust our God. He knows what he's doing, though it might hurt now. We won't be ruined. It might seem like
They still show up on my TikTok feed a lot, like it, because it's a husband and wife, and they're like active on social media, still playing and stuff, gigging out and everything. So have a family now. I don't know if they're traveling as much, but that's a great offering. Gavin, where are we going for you?
Okay, I'm manning this one up because I do tend to pick female artists.
You do actually, yes.
So I went with Jeremy Camp, and the problem with Jeremy Camp, not that there's a real one,
Yeah,
but
what
he's
is
got
it?
so much music that you often forget some of his hits. And so I picked the song Reckless, but I hadn't heard it in a while. I'm like, what is this song?
Yeah.
And then I remembered it.
I wanna be reckless, 'cause you are endless. I wanna be shameless and shout your greatness. I will not be afraid to surrender.
Yeah, this is Gavin, his version of manning it up, and you did, because this is back when Jeremy Camp was a man too.
Yeah, it's like before his pop era.
Yeah, and before he would go falsetto here and there, and
I
so
don't remember that song at all.
It is not mine,
I don't hate it.
Lord.
But do you like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I like it for Jeremy Camp.
yeah.
It sounds just like something he would do.
Sure. Yeah, that's not a giant hit that I remember either. So, all right, here are your choices. You got "Need You Now" by Plum, a monster hit, back in the day. You have Jeremy Camp, a song that none of us remember.
Swaying the vote.
Really
Swaying
great.
the vote.
And then you have the uncomparable Love in the Outcome, who did so much great
They were
music
on Winter Jam.
that most of us would like stand in awe if we could get tickets to see them today because they are that good. And their songs are amazing.
You're rude.
Why? You said I was
You are
swaying the vote for mine,
because
and I just talked
here's the
yours
thing.
up.
I can see your face right now.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't mean what you're saying.
No, they're amazing.
You're being rude.
Best band ever.
You know what? I
Best
hope
duo
people
ever.
vote for mine or Gavin's song just out of spite.
Well, we'll see how it goes right now. I really want you to tell us why you like the song. 855-33-WAY-FM. Maybe you remember Reckless and you're like, man, that was a great time of my life and I needed this song. 855-33-WAY-FM. Uplifting Way FM. This is The Wally Show. Misty, thank you so much for helping us out today with Time Capsule Tuesday. So you've heard the three songs, Need You Now by Plum, Reckless by Jeremy Camp, and He Is With Us by Love in the Outcome. And those were mine, Gavin's, and Betty's choices today. So which song are you going with from 2013 that you liked and why?
I am going with Need You Now.
Oh, by Plum.
Misty,
Coming in
you
big.
voted
Yes.
for Wally's song, and he was so cocky about it.
I know, but that song just speaks so much what's going on in this world right now. Everybody needs him right now.
See, and this is why I love Misty, because Misty can see past pettiness. Misty's like, you know what? It's not about Betty Rock's trifle arguments with
minute.
Wally. It's about people needing the Lord then and now. Misty, you're amazing.
Oh, my word. I don't know
Yes.
how someone is able to use the Lord against someone else in a petty fight, but you are really good at it,
Thank
Wally.
you. Thank
No,
you.
it's not a compliment.
Oh, really? Okay, weird.
And Misty, you didn't help at all.
I'm sorry, but it speaks to me. I jam out every time I hear that song, and I just need the Lord right now.
There you go. You got stuff going on, huh, Misty?
Yes, I mean, everybody has stuff going on. He throws any and everything at you just to see how faithful you can be.
Well, here you go. All the way back to 2013. It's Plum for Misty, Need You Now. And maybe these lyrics might hit somebody that's never heard this song, and it might be just what they need right now, too, Misty. So thanks for helping us out
Yes.
today on Time Capsule
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Well, everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody's got a wound to be healed. I wanna believe there's beauty.
Wouldn't it be great if you had a time machine and you could go back in time and undo some of the decisions you've made?
Yeah, like those permed mullets or the blue eyeshadow. Oh, it was all rough.
Maybe you made the decision back in the day to not finish your schooling and you want to go back and get it done, or you're like, I want to start it today and make some changes in my life.
So while Colorado Christian University doesn't have a time machine that they can offer you,
That you know of. I think they're working on one.
they still can help you with your education.
So Colorado Christian University is offering you a chance to win a $10,000 or a $5,000 scholarship towards an associate, bachelor's, or even master's degree offered 100% online.
Even if you don't win the grand prize, you could still get a $1,000 scholarship just for entering.
To enter, text CCU, like for Colorado Christian University, CCU to 91979.
Contest ends April 10th.
And here's the great news. You don't need a time machine to change your future.
Colorado Christian University, cultivating the mind without compromising the heart.
With so much drama in the news,
I hate drama, so there you go.
You love drama.
I know I do, right?
this is a drama-free zone. It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
If you're in need of a sweet treat today, a Crumble cookie has you covered. I personally, I like Crumble cookies. Their normal cookies are great, but they do try to elevate their cookie game a bit. For example, and Betty, you'll love this. They've partnered with the Kardashians.
What?
Yeah, and they
I
have...
hate to admit it, but I do watch the Kardashians.
I know, and so they have Kardashian-inspired cookies.
What?
Can you imagine what Chris's is? Because I don't watch the show.
Okay,
is there
Kris
something she's
Jenner.
known for?
She is a stage mom, a boss mom.
But like food, is there like a dessert she's known for making on the show? I don't know. Because I haven't seen it.
No, I
Okay.
can't think of any.
Well, she is known apparently for her yellow layer cake with chocolate frosting.
Yum.
And so they made a cookie inspired
Sounds
by
great.
that. Yeah, that's my wife's favorite cake too.
Okay.
It's like that's what I make her for her birthday.
Oh, nice.
And then you've got
I would try it.
Yeah, you got Courtney's flourless chocolate
Oh,
cake.
she's
cookie.
the worst.
No.
She's
Gluten free.
No, guys, trust Crumble. Trust Crumble.
I know. Courtney is very
Crunchy.
yeah, she's crunchy and she likes to keep everything natural.
But I guess if you have a gluten allergy, this would be a great option. 0 refined sugar. Well, that's no fun. If you're taking the gluten out, add extra sugar, man. Come on, help a brother out. Drizzled with dark chocolate glaze and topped with raspberries. Then Kim has snickerdoodle crumble cake.
Ooh.
Chloe has cookies and cream skillet cake.
Oh, my God.
Kendall has cookie dough cupcake cookie.
Ugh.
And Kylie has pink confetti sugar cookie.
Oh, my
that one will be the
gosh.
best. That's like their basic one, but it's so good.
Pink confetti.
I had no idea there were that many Kardashians, honestly.
Oh yeah, and they left out Rob Kardashian.
Yeah,
but
Rob's
he
not
doesn't
getting
make
a
an
cookie.
appearance.
No,
yeah.
you can get a half dozen of these, so 6 of them for all the ladies, $22.
Okay.
Or around $5
But then
each.
Crumble is going to ask you for a tip.
They
okay?
are.
And that tip involves them asking you what you want,
Yeah.
them turning around, grabbing the cookies you want,
Yeah.
putting them in a box, and handing them to you.
But the presentation is everything. They roll that lid back like, do these look fine? I'm like, yeah, they look fine on that tray over there too. I'm paying for this?
$5 tip,
Or
please.
there's even when you do the automatic, there's the tip spot too. You're like, guys, come
I
on,
know.
just serve me some cookies,
I know.
please.
I know.
If you want to get one of these, it started yesterday and it only runs through Saturday. And so you don't
get
have much
fast.
time. Yeah, so I'm going to probably try and pick up the yellow cake ones for Marty on the way home today. So there you go. Maybe a little sweet treat is what you deserve today. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. And recently, Betty Rock and the ladies of Way did a women's conference called Reclaim. And Betty Rock, you kind of took what you shared at that women's conference because men weren't allowed to go. And we like to reclaim stuff too. I mean, why leave us out? And you actually put pen to paper and wrote a blog about this.
Yes, I did. And you can actually see it when you text the word content to 91979. I had to ask Gavin
This has been
earlier.
the best part.
Yeah, I had to ask Gavin earlier. I said, is there a difference in spelling between content and content? And he said, no.
Yeah.
It's just how you say it.
It's it's English.
emphasis.
English is confusing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
text content.
Yeah, so either text content or content, whichever you see, to 91979, and you can see this post. But yeah, I shared 3 things that have helped me when it comes to finding contentment when my life isn't going the way that I thought it would, especially when I compare it to other people's journeys.
Comparison's rough, isn't it?
Yeah, and social media makes it even rougher. But I'm almost 40 and single, and so never been married, and so you could see how comparison would play a
Sure.
role in that and feeling like I'm not enough.
Absolutely.
And so that's not the way God meant for us to live our lives. And so I wanted to share that, the 3 tips that have helped me, in hopes that if you find yourself in a situation, it might look different, but in a comparison trap, maybe these 3 things will help you find contentment.
There you go. So text the word content or content to 91979, and you can read everything that Betty wrote. And maybe even if it's good for you, then great. But maybe you know someone that's kind of struggling in this area, and you read it and go, oh, I want to share this. Make sure you share it with people that need to hear it, because she did a great job with it. So that said, I am curious, because this all spawned from the Reclaim Women's event. Have you ever gone to a conference like this, or a women's event, a men's event, something like
Marriage
that?
conference?
Yeah, something. And you had a really cool takeaway from it, because a lot of times when they do these things, there's professional speakers, and they have a way of putting something into terms that make sense that maybe you couldn't verbalize before, but they make it rhyme, or whatever, and you're like, oh, that makes sense, or it's an acronym or something. But what was something that you took away from a conference that you went to? 855-33 Way FM. We'd love to get your take on this too. And again, sharing this might help somebody else out as well. So 855-33 Way FM. We'll take yours now. And I'm curious what you learned at one of your conferences.
So this was quite a few years ago, and whatever the speaker was saying, I don't remember except for one thing. He's talking about meditating on the word day and night, and the way he explained it to me was it's more than just like, thinking about the word and praying and reading the word, but really he used the word marinating. He said marinate in the word, that you are so fully soaked and saturated in it that it just permeates completely through you, and you are full of that flavor of the Holy Spirit, and that has stuck with me forever.
Well, I think the word marinate kind of hits people in a different way because it's a word that we actually understand.
Right.
Like, if you've done any type of cooking, you know what marinating looks like. You understand that word. And so sometimes it's just using different verbiage, but it has the same connotation.
Right, like contemplate is very left brain thinking, kind of logical, and marinate feels more like right brain feeling. You're soaked in it, and I love that. And all this marination talk, I need some barbecue. So that's all I've taken from Brent's conversation here today. I'm hungry and I need barbecue. So what was something you learned at a conference?
So the conference was incredible. It's called Tres Dias. They actually have men's weekends and women's weekends. They're separate too. And one of the speakers talked about how God continually through the Old Testament and the New Testament just shows us back and forth how he just is preparing that place for us, and how the Old Testament talks about how the Father will send the Son and then he can go and claim his bride, and how that refers to the modern day where God's going to send Jesus to claim his bride, which is the church. And it just struck me so deeply, like that God loves us so intently like that he cares for us and cherishes us, that he wants to claim us like that. It was so overwhelming and incredible. Like the whole weaving of how God is just so intentional about wanting us to abide with him, and that we get to do that forever in eternity with him.
Yeah, and that's one of the differentiating factors between Christianity and all other world religions. Every other world religion is about what you do to get to God, and Christianity is about what God did to get to us.
Behold God stuff.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show, and God Stuff is where we like to highlight things that are happening faith-based outside of the walls of the church. And you probably saw stories on the news of the severe storms that went across the country if you didn't live through it recently. Well, the city of Selmer, Tennessee got just nailed with an EF3 tornado, and it had a devastating toll on homes and businesses and lives. It was virtually unimaginable. This entire community of mobile homes got swept away, cars thrown miles away from their places they were parked.
That's terrible.
Roofs ripped off, power lines thrown through homes, 3 lives lost. It was rough on this city. And yet through it all, there are like reminders of God inside of it and his healing. There was a news crew covering the disaster for the local 13 like Fox affiliate there. And so they're going through the rubble of this destroyed home in Selmer, and they found a Bible covered in debris. And when they kind of brushed it off, it was open to Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1 through 4. And I really liked what the news station, because they posted a picture of this and they wrote the story on it. But I liked what they had to say about this. Said, these words stand out at a time like this. There is a right time for everything, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to harvest, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to destroy, a time to rebuild, a time to cry, and a time to laugh. So it's basically the scripture right there. And I love that they're reposting this on their news website. And but what they said next was what I loved. They said, our hope here at Fox 13 for storm victims in Selma and across our community is that healing will come, that it is a time to rebuild, and that in this current grief, laughter will come.
Wow.
I love that they didn't go thoughts and prayers. Mm-hmm. Like I cannot stand thoughts and prayers. Like when people say that, because no one's doing it. No one's like, it's just a way that you're trying to synthesize something in your own brain to say something at a tragedy, because very few people will actually go and pray for it. But you go, oh, thoughts and prayers, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and it always seems shallow and empty to me, especially on the news. But I really like this because they let the Bible verse do the talking. They didn't have to say anything, and then they focused on hope, and I think that is super relatable and ultimately scriptural.
And who knows how many people saw that and that it witnessed to.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I like seeing is God in all these places outside the walls of the church, and that's why we do God stuff.
We take this very seriously.
Very demure.
It's news-ish
Very mindful.
on The Wally Show.
What you got, Gavin?
So when you go in for a treat yourself type moment, whether that's getting a bite to eat, going in for a haircut, or something like a massage, you don't necessarily expect to, let's say, end up in the hospital the next day. And that was the case for this 26-year-old man who said that his neck had been hurting from working too much and sitting in a desk all day. Aw. So he booked an appointment at a local massage parlor, went in, and he said, like, oh, let's just get a normal massage. And then he was in the midst of the massage, he felt the masseuse do this more, he said, quote unquote, vigorous maneuver.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had vigorous maneuvers in massages. And he felt the sharp pain in his neck, followed by a massive headache. Went to the ER the next morning after he woke up with slurred speech, numbness on the left side of his body.
That's not good.
Turned out that the masseuse had accidentally ripped a hole in an artery leading to his brain. And then he had a stroke.
Whoa.
At
Did he
26?
survive?
At 26. And so he did survive. They caught it in time, treated him. He's okay.
Wow.
They say he'll make a full recovery. But I think that that's got to be the biggest twist on something like that. And I have always heard, and have been afraid to like pop my neck or do something with your neck. And you expect a trained professional to not do something like that.
I 100% believe this story. I had a shoulder injury. I got a massage, and this person dug so deep into my shoulders with their thumbs and just, I mean, like, to the point where I let it go for a long time because I didn't want to look like, you know, a weak person. And finally, I'm like, you got to stop. You're killing me. You're killing me. And I've had trouble with both shoulders now for 2 years, and I can't get it worked out.
So a little lady beat you up.
She whooped me. I'm like, my shoulders, they're like frozen, or I have problems. I can't lift things beyond like picking it up above like shoulder height. It goes.
And that's not like age, right?
No, absolutely not. No, it's not.
Well,
this is a legit injury. I've been to the doctor 3 or 4 times.
I will say that my grandpa, he was a gymnast at a young age, and both of his shoulders had to be replaced. I'm not putting you guys on like the same
because I'm not a gymnast.
No, but you know, maybe, I don't know, is a shoulder replacement in the future?
The doctor said he's trying to avoid that.
Okay.
And so I'm doing like all these exercises and stuff.
Yeah, but I would take that over a stroke.
Yes.
I don't know which is worse.
Oh,
I don't
my
know.
word.
He's fine now. I'm still in
can't.
pain every day.
Oh,
I would have
jeez.
rather have had that and been done with it than 2 years of
Really?
this. Absolutely.
You are terrible.
No, he got off lighter
If you're
than me.
guaranteed survival.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in the moment it's scary, but if I like looking at the 2 outcomes, he's doing better than I am. He can lift stuff.
I can't.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and there was a food delivery driver who was actually credited with saving a woman's life. He had dropped off her food and was leaving, but he said something just didn't feel right. And he said, I believe God made me go back to that window. I pushed away some branches so I could get a better look, and that's when I saw the lady face down on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy because he wasn't even scheduled to work that night, but he had swapped shifts with another driver very last minute. And he's like, I'm happy that I was just there to save her. And, you know, he credits that whole thing to like a God moment and God putting something on his heart and that feeling that he then followed through with. And when the emergency workers were there working on her, he went ahead and put the lady's groceries away.
Oh, wow.
Did his job.
Above and beyond.
And then a few days later came back to see how she was doing, brought her some flowers and stuff. And so it's really great. I mean, he lived out his faith in a real tangible way. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about. Like, have you ever gotten that feeling that you just know was God putting something on your heart and you followed through with it?
Oh, well, and two, that's the key, is following through with it. Because a lot of times I feel like, and I'm guilty as well, God will put something on your heart and you're like, was that just me or is that God? I don't know. And so you say no to it. And then what really stinks is when you see someone else. He puts it on someone else's heart and then they do it. And you're like, that was my opportunity.
Exactly. You feel like you missed out on a blessing, because that's the thing. Like, serving other people, there's a blessing in that you get beyond helping them, too, because you're following through with what God put on your heart. So that's what we want to talk about right now. What is that thing that you felt God was just kind of impressing on you to do, and you followed through with it? Maybe it took you way out of your comfort zone, faith-wise or just relationship-wise with somebody or a stranger or whatever, but you're like, man, I have to be faithful to this. Because I think when we do that and we create a habit or a lifestyle of following the crazy that God puts on our heart, big things happen in our lives and we're happier. We look different, we act different, we feel different and stuff. So I'd love to hear your story, because your story too might be that thing that inspires somebody else to, there's something that God's putting in there now that they think is ludicrous, but maybe your story makes them go, you know what, I do need to follow through with this, and their faith will grow as an example or an extension of that. So 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take your story now. What's yours?
So when I was 19 years old, I started volunteering at our local pregnancy center, and I was just folding baby clothes and, kind of behind the scenes doing things. And our director approached me and asked if I would start getting trained to learn how to talk to clients who are coming in dealing with crisis pregnancies. And it absolutely scared me to death. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I have no experience. I cannot talk to people through these kinds of things. Well, I felt that God was really impressing on my heart to do it, and I did, and I loved the training. And about 4 years later, I actually ended up getting on staff at that pregnancy center.
Oh, really?
And the Lord has opened up so many doors because of that, and I've been able to meet so many incredible women and men through this process, and I've just seen God's hand work in such a great way, and I'm so thankful that I didn't ignore him when he was speaking that first time, and that I just stepped out of the boat and just followed his leading.
That's exactly it. God calls us to the uncomfortable sometimes, and stepping out of the boat like Peter did, and when you do that, you do see the miracle, but you've got to be an active participant in it as well. Well, that's a perfect one, Abby. I appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So what's your story?
So as quick as I can, I was dropping my mom off from the grocery store, and there was a woman from another country walking down the sidewalk, and I had this feeling to go pick her up to take her home to offer, and I didn't do it. And on the third inclination, God said, you're going to do it. So I turned around, and I picked her up, and I don't know if I was saving her from something. She was actually going to walk 3 miles further from where she was.
Oh.
So I got her story. She wanted me to come in and meet her kids, and I was scared to death. But I kept thinking, I trust God more, and it was a great experience. I don't know what I did for her, but I was telling her about Southeast Christian Church down the road to give her help, and it was very quick, and that was the end of our relationship.
And that might have been the end of that relationship, but it wasn't the end of your relationship with God. It's like, hey, I'm asking you to step out. You step out and do this, and then the next time I ask you, you've seen this, you've seen my faithfulness, my provision, my protection, you'll do it again, and that grows your faith.
I have, and I've learned to say I trust you more. When he puts it in front of me, I figure it's for a reason, and I just have to do it.
So what is a time that you did that?
I am a stay-at-home mom of 4, and last summer when my kids were starting back in school, I saw an ad on social media about bringing the Bible into public schools. And I was very intrigued, and after plugging in and talking with a few people about how we could bring this program to teach the Bible in the public school, I got asked to speak before the House committee at our state capitol. Politician I am not, and so I went down about a month ago and gave my testimony about why I thought the Bible should be taught in public schools for our kids. And so I thought, Lord, I am representing all the parents like me. Needless to say, my heart was pounding almost out of my chest when I was up giving my testimony, but it was received very well. The bill that we were voting on that particular day got shot down, but I have been asked again, Wally, to go and appear at the Senate committee at our state capitol, and that is today. So if you at WayFM would be in prayer for me, I will be speaking today for the very same purpose. And I'm just watching God just put the pavers down step by step. This takes me way out of my comfort zone. I'm a baseball, softball, soccer mom, chasing 4 kids around and going and speaking eloquently before the politicians is something that I'm like, oh my word, Lord, this could only be a door that you have opened.
Well, who knows? If you play your cards just right, you might actually be the subject of the next God's Not Dead movie.
God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. God's not dead, he's surely alive.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Rock Report with Betty Rock.
Have you ever watched a movie and thought, wow, I don't think that role could have been done any better by any other actor than who they chose?
Yeah, and then I can't even see those people beyond that role either. They're so good at it.
Like you.
And I Can Only Imagine.
Imagine.
And then you get to see it twice because I'm in I Can Only Imagine too. I guess we can imagine it.
Nobody cares.
Thank you, Gavin.
I should have seen that.
sorry,
I should have prepared for that. Anyways, I have a list of actors where people said these actors did so well that it just can't be outdone. The first one, I think most of us would agree, is Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow.
We don't have the key. We can't open whatever it is we don't have that it unlocks. So what purpose would be served in finding whatever need be unlocked, which we don't have, without first having found the key? What unlocks it?
Yeah, I don't even know what accent that is he's doing, but it is great.
It is a weird accent.
Yeah.
And also, too, he's always is stumbling, and
he played it quirky. Like, you wouldn't expect the pirate movie to be quirky like that. And that's just like an acting choice he did.
Right.
And it became synonymous with it. Yeah, can you imagine Liam Neeson doing that role? No.
Nicolas Cage.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
The next one would be Mike Myers as Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can't imagine, like, Tom Cruise couldn't have done that.
No.
I'm trying to think. Will Ferrell?
No, it wouldn't have worked.
It
He's
wouldn't have-
great, but I don't think it would have
Yeah,
worked.
I agree with you. Another one, this one is from a classic. Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka.
Come with me.
Yeah.
They
Now,
tried.
Johnny Depp tried
That
this
was-
one, and it was weird.
It was right. He's
And then-
good as Jack Sparrow. He's not perfect as Willie.
And who was the young kid?
Timothy Chalamet. They tried too hard with that one.
That
I
was
think.
Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah.
There was the kid in that? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say Gene Wilder did awesome.
Yeah, he's iconic, and like, I mean, what a horrible role to be iconic in. He's creepy as all get out. But they tried with Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp tried to out creepy him, and it didn't work.
And then finally, Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. I know you don't know him.
As Spock in Star
Live long
Trek.
and prosper.
Yeah,
That's
live
right.
long and prosper. That's Leonard Nimoy right there.
I never watched Star Trek nor Star
Obviously.
Wars. I get it confused. I always go Ninu, but I'm
No,
told that's something completely different.
That is Mork and Mindy.
See, I don't know.
Yeah, that
They're
was a
all
TV
alien things. I don't
Yeah.
know. But all that to say, Leonard, could his Spock role been played by anybody else?
It was interesting because they did come back and make
A
movies
yeah.
from the show, and I liked the guy who
Was there
I
a
can't-
Spock in
I
him?
ca- Yeah, I can't name the
Yeah.
actor, but I thought he played a good Spock.
Yeah.
But for Trekkies, like really big fans, which I am not, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I know that Nimoy holds that really special
For
place
sure.
in their
And
heart.
it goes back to like Wally was saying earlier, like when that role is synonymous with them. Like for
Yeah.
instance, what's that guy that played Edward in the vampire in the
Yeah.
what's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert
Yes.
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Now he hates the fact that he has been pinned into this role.
Right.
But I'm saying like when someone plays a role so good
Yeah.
that you can't see him any other way, it's a blessing and a curse.
And that's what we're hoping for Thursday when I shoot my
That's
part
right.
for Gus, Sound Mixer number
All right,
1
push the
for I
button.
Can
Nobody
Only
cares.
Imagine
Push the
2,
button.
the sequel to the
Nobody cares.
highly successful
It's 3
I
seconds.
Can Only
he
Imagine
has 3
1.
lines,
Yeah.
and that's it.
They're going to be amazing.
I hope it gets cut out.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. And like during the songs, Betty and Gavin were talking And Betty was talking about how much sleep she got last night, and Gavin's like, "You slept twice as much as I did."
She literally did. It's insane.
She got like 10 hours, and he got like 5, because that's what being a new dad will do for you. And so you're learning the ropes of being a parent.
I am, and I've got just like a wealth of people and knowledge to tap into when it comes to that. I've got you, my parents, but I prefer TikTok.
Oh,
And
yeah, absolutely.
TikTok is where I found my most recent parenting hack, and this is one that my son's 8 months old right now, and this will be for when he's old enough to understand finances. And I thought that this was a fun money-related hack for kids.
Every time that they're doing something that's like a great behavior or helping mom around the house, there's a quarter reward. And that quarter can be put into save, spend, or share. And every time they put into the save bucket, you just double it. So you just teach them, like, we're gonna match everything you save. And then every time they get 10 quarters, there's a reward. They won't know what the quarter does unless there's a reward attached. So that could be like a fun treat, a fun outing, a show, something fun that you can do with them.
I'd like to do that at work.
Can we?
Every time we do something right, we get a quarter, and then the company matches it. How great is that?
That would be really nice. But it is kind of an interesting way to very, very early on with low stakes, teach them like financial discipline,
Definitely.
saving. You can spend. That's always an option. So that's something that's cool. The taking that like a degree further would be like taxing them.
Yes,
if you wanted
absolutely.
to. That would teach them a big lesson, but maybe save that for later.
Yeah, I used to do that with food with my daughter. Like, I'd be like, "Hey, do you want this pie?" And she'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's great." So I'd cut her a piece of pie, and I'd go to hand it to her. I go, "Oh, wait, taxes," and I'd take a little bit of a bite out of it. And so she learned. She knows all about taxes now.
And what's interesting is that like some people might see that and be like, "Oh, they're only going to do good things because they're going to get something out of it." But I do think that if you do it twofold, where you're like, this is a good thing to do for the sake of doing a good thing, but in this life, like
guess what? That is life.
It is
like
life.
You go to work, you were rewarded for doing well at your job,
Yeah.
and you're setting up that. As long as you set up the boundaries, like, hey, this is like your job at home, then it's not getting into the weird things of being nice and being rewarded just for being nice. I think it's a great idea. It's a great hack. Let's talk about yours. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. Especially Gavin, being a new parent, could benefit from this. So what are some of the things that you've done, the strategies to teach your kid something, whether it's financial independence, whether it's sharing, whether it's kindness? Like, what have you done creatively to implement that in their lives? 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. It's kind of a parenting think tank here. 855-33-WAY-FM. So what is something, Jamie, that you have tried to teach your kids, and how did you do it creatively?
One of the things that was really important to us was our families of origin were not good at resolving conflicts. So there would be a conflict, and then there would be like anger hanging in the air, and nobody would say anything about it, but then everything would go back to normal, like everything was fine, but it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it was really important to us to teach our children a different way. And one of the ways we did that from the time they were very little was when they had wronged someone, they didn't just say, "I'm sorry." They had to say, "Will you please forgive me?" Which sounds very basic, very simple, but you have to humble yourself to a certain point. You can say, "I'm sorry." We learned early on that when they couldn't say, "Will you please forgive me?" they really hadn't humbled themselves yet.
That is a really great idea, and I could see that totally working. Another strategy is you duct tape your kids together while they're in an argument, and then they're forced to resolve it. They can't get away from each other.
I think I'm going to take parenting hacks from Jamie.
Probably a
instead of
better
you in this
idea.
moment.
Yeah, much better idea. What is something you implemented with your kids to teach them something that was kind of creative?
So the other day, two things. We were at the zoo, and my girl was having such a hard time. We were with a group of friends, and she's 4. I have a 7-year-old girl and a 4-year-old girl. Lots of emotions going on in our house. She was having a hard time giving me her attention and wanting to keep doing what she was doing. So I try to let my kids finish out what they're doing. Like, hey, if you're in the middle of a page, finish the page. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's good.
But also, I was trying to figure out how to get her to share her attention with me and give me her attention. And I held out my hand and said, "Can you give me your attention?" You know, she pretended she had it and put it in my hand. And then I gave her mine. And now that's what we do in order to communicate with each other. We give each other our attention, and it's a tangible way for us to both focus.
That's really cute and definitely something you can do with girls. I would never
Yes.
put my hands out and ask my son to put something in it. It would probably be his gum or, a frog or something like that. So good strategy for girls.
Yeah.
What is a strategy or a tip that you've used to teach your kids lessons and help make them better people?
Anyone who's had children know that we don't have to teach them how to be selfish or self-centered.
Very
do we?
true.
But we have to teach them the opposite. And from a young age, when they're fighting over toys or whatever they may have had, you hear other parents or adults say, well, who had it first? Or, that is your sister's toy, or give it back or whatever. Well, I always taught my kids that if somebody wants something, whether it's your playmate or your sister or whoever, that you give to them because you want them to be happy. Help others and to give to others. And, we're not storing up our treasures, our toys here on earth. And, Jesus said, if somebody asks you to go a mile, go two. If they ask for your shirt, give them your cloak also. But in the same way, then give them all your toys.
That is going next level for sure, especially for a kid, because you hang on to your toys as tight as you can. I love the story of going the extra mile. We use that term all the time. And what that was is this was during a time of Roman occupation for the Jews. And so there was a law that if a Roman asked a Jew to carry his armor, he had to carry it for 1 mile. These people were being oppressed by the Romans and they did not like them. Jesus flips the script and he goes, if you're asked to carry that armor for 1 mile, go the extra mile and carry it for 2, because that will speak volumes about the person you are and your faith. And I love the story of how that phrase came to being, and you're living that out with your kids. And that's a great suggestion, Sue. Thank you.
You're welcome. We hope that other people can implement it too.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.